Hello ladies and gentlemen, Safehouse here, and today I'll be talking to you about the Witchcraft skill tree. I'll be running through the abilities whilst letting you know what makes this tree so strong. It is one of my favourite trees and one of the most annoying to come up against because of the insane amount of CC it possesses. It is one of the best support / secondary trees in the game and has a lot of amazing combos, especially with the sorcery tree. Don't be deterred if you aren't running sorcery though, you can literally run Witchcraft with any of the main trees and it will work out well. Okay, now I'll run through the abilities and point out some of the most popular ones to help you in deciding which ones you want when you're making your class. So first up we have Earthling Grip. It calls forth a hand from the ground to hold an enemy, inflicting snare for 11.9 seconds. That duration is reduced by 50% in PvP, but it is still quite a long time. Really good against melee classes because if they can't move around, they obviously can't do damage to you if you are staying out of their range. It also deals a little bit of damage, but not a hell of a lot, and it only has a 1-second cast time, which isn't too bad. Next up we have Innovate. Deals a little bit of damage as well and burns a little bit of mana, not too much of an issue there. Decreases received healing by 50% and increases the duration of stun and trip plus 30%. So that is pretty huge, especially if there's a target that is getting a lot of heals or healing themselves a lot. That will make a huge difference. Next up we have Bubble Trap, one of the greatest abilities in this tree. It traps an enemy inside it for 8.8 seconds and slowly lifts them into the air. The bubble duration reduced by 50% PvP, but it is still quite a long time. Enemies in bubbles can't attack, but will be freed upon taking damage. So this one applies an electric shock effect that actually combos with some of the sorcery skills really well. So if you can lock them down in that bubble and then get off a long cast time ability that combos with the lightning effect, it does a huge amount of damage. So that's what makes this one so strong. Next up we have Insidious Whisper. Inflicts fear on an enemy and causes it to flee from the cast for 2.3 seconds. Effect ends when target takes damage. The 1.5 second cast time is a little bit longer, but you know, it's just another option there to CC your opponent. That is really what this tree is all about. Next up we have Purged. So if it's cast on an ally, it removes one negative effect and increases magic defense by 25% for 3 minutes. So straight up, that's a huge buff for magic defense, so you can keep that up all the time because it does last 3 minutes. If you use it on an enemy, it does remove one buff. It can have a huge impact on fights if you manage to steal a really good buff from the enemy. Say they've just popped something that stops them from being stunned for the next 4 seconds. If you take that from them and then stun them and they can't stun you, that's obviously going to be a huge turning point in the fight. Next up we have Play Dead, which is a bit of a mess around kind of one. It allows the caster to play dead to escape danger. Caster can revive at any time, restores 1% health and mana every second of the skill's duration. Effect ends with movement. So you know, it's just a good way if you're dying against mobs and that kind of stuff, you can just play dead and they will de-aggro from you. Next we have Courageous Action. Awakens caster or an ally and grants immunity to sleep and fear for 1 minute. So only on a 9-second cooldown, so you can have that up all the time as well, which is really good because fear and sleep are two really common forms of CC in ArcheAge. Then we have Lassitude, which is a really amazing ability. Saps a target's metal, causing them to become fatigued and fall asleep for 1.5 seconds after 3 seconds. Enemies will wake upon taking damage. Sleep duration reduced by 50% in PvP, so if they're chilled it increases duration by a lot as well. So what you want to do is chill your target and then cast this, so it fears them and then they fall asleep for a very long time. So while they're standing there you can charge up like a meteor, which is a 5-second cast time, so you can charge up some of those huge cooldowns in that time and really destroy your opponent. Really good ability that pretty much everyone's going to take when using Witchcraft. Next up we have Banshee Whale. Causes fear in all nearby enemies for 1.2 seconds, forcing them to flee and stunning them for 2 seconds. The effects end when an affected enemy takes damage. So another good one, like Lassitude, it is an instant cast, so that's a really big thing about these fights. Whoever gets off the first stun or CC kind of thing, it really does have a huge impact on who will come out on top in the fight. And this one is an AoE, so it causes fear in all nearby enemies, so if you can manage to get into a pack of people and use that, they're all going to be CC'd at the same time. Next up we have Focal Concussion. Deals 369 magic damage and stuns an enemy for 1.5 seconds. Deals additional damage and removes all positive buffs when the stun ends, so that's another pretty big one. It's a nice stun, instant cast, and it removes all buffs at the end of it. And finally for the actives we have Dahuta's Breath, which is a really great ability as well. Sends forth a wave and deals 802 magic damage and pushes enemies back. So that's a lot of damage, and the knockback is really good, especially in things like naval combat and that kind of stuff. You can push people off boats, and it is just a large amount of damage, and it also inflicts an additional 40% 46% damage on electric shock targets, which combos with the bubble trap really well. And just to note, obviously the damage will increase with your magic attack and that kind of stuff. These numbers aren't exactly what you're going to have. And now just a quick look at the passives as well. First we have folding time, decreased cast time of all skills by 4%. Not a huge issue, I wouldn't worry about putting a point in it. 4% really isn't that much. Next, increased health regen plus 7 every 1 second. Also, you know, it's not a huge amount either, not something I would really put a point into. Next up, magic detection, increased magic defense plus 500. Now that's something I would probably invest in. 500 is quite a lot of defense, so definitely look at picking that one up. Next is mitigation, decreases all damage minus 30% for 3 seconds after a melee critical hit, disabled for 30 seconds if triggered too often. It's another one you might want to look at, especially if you're finding that you're struggling against a lot of the melee classes, because decreasing all damage by 30% is a pretty huge thing. Next up we have converts 2% of damage inflicted to an enemy to mana. Wouldn't really worry about that one. Mana isn't too much of a problem in ArcheAge, especially in PvP. Maybe in PvE a little bit, but still not really worth a point in my mind. Next up we have Augment Witchcraft, increases the duration of Earthling Grip, Bubble Trap, Insidious Whisper, Lassitude, and Banshee's Wall plus 20%, removes Earthling Grip's cast time, decreases cast time for an Insidious Whisper by 0.5 seconds. Fiend's Knell summons a more powerful fiend. So this is a passive that you are definitely going to want. It just increases all that CC by a really huge amount. You do have to have quite a few points invested in Witchcraft to get this. You actually need 9, but it's definitely worth it. Making Earthling Grip not have a cast time really is just broken. And for the final passive, decreases Witchcraft skill cooldown by 20%. So that's definitely one you're going to be looking at as well if you do have enough points to pick that one up, because 20% is a pretty large amount of cooldown reduction. Well, that is the Witchcraft tree, guys. You will definitely want to consider it when creating your class. If you have any other questions about abilities or just anything else, don't hesitate to throw them down in the comments section below and I'll get back to you ASAP. Good luck with your builds and I hope to see you next time.